tell you, we're at NAMM, and NAMM is where you find great things on pianos, new things. You know, piano's been around for a couple hundred years, and you say, what's new? Well, there are new things, believe it or not, if you're innovative enough to know what you're doing. My name is Joe DeFeo, and I'm the Executive Vice President of Vanner International, and we are the distributors for Hailun Pianos in the United States. Hailun is a very, very high quality piano, in fact, one of the fastest growing in the world brands. But it again is a piano with 88 notes and standard size keys. There are some people who cannot play a piano with standard size keys that play very, very well, but have trouble reaching certain octaves in different intervals. Here's a perfect example. That's a hand on your right hand side is a hand of a concert pianist that I know that works as an artist for us. Unfortunately, the hand on that side is me. Now, I am a player, but there is no possible way in the world that I could reach any intervals that he does. There's impossible. It just can't happen. And there's some people out there, and a lot of them are females that have naturally smaller hands, that can't play a lot of the music exactly the way it's written because of that. They have a great big advantage with the larger hands. So through the years, there have been different ways to accommodate smaller keyboards, but it was never done right. There was always a problem with the mechanics, a problem with fittings, and usually they were put on cheap pianos, so even if it worked, it wouldn't work well, and the players wouldn't enjoy it. Well, just a little bit ago, there's a gentleman by the name of Dave Steinbuehler, and it's called the Steinbuehler Standard, and he came up with a keyboard, actually a couple different size keyboards that will work properly and do exactly what we want them to do for people who have smaller hands. Now, I am so very, very lucky right now to have Linda Gould with me and her husband, David, who is a piano technician, by the way, here to explain exactly what goes on with this Steinbuehler Standard. As a original user, she's one of the first. You are the first.
I am the very first.
The very first person to do this. And in fact, if you look at her T-shirt, it says "Extend your reach."
And here is a tenth. We want to reach a tenth. That's the magic.
The magic is a tenth. And this also works for jazz players too, by the way, not just the classical players. So, Linda, I'm going to turn this over to you, and she has models of the keyboards, and we'll tell you a little bit about it. Linda, take as much time as you need to do that.
Okay. Well, thank you, Joe. It was so wonderful to run into Joe at NAMM because sometimes we feel like we're screaming into the wind. This is something that 80% of women, 100% of children should be playing on. When we play the piano, we want to be able to play the piano as it was built for the concert career. Even if we're just a hobbyist that was playing for the local sing-along, we want to have full command of the piano, and we can't because we have small hands, and that is something that simply should not be something that stops us from playing. Making the keys narrower, we don't need any other changes on the piano. We want a good quality piano. The Hailun is a good quality piano. We want a piano that is good quality just with narrow keys, so that when we reach a tenth on a piano, if you can see down here, when I play an octave, my hand is outstretched. I have no shock absorbers. If I come down hard, what happens is I get damage. And here I have a scar on my wrist. I lost the use of my hand in my 20s. I was wanting to be a concert artist. I went to university. I was playing 11 hours a day. I had a young hand, so it could take lots of abuse, and then that just stopped. And this isn't documented. Many, many women stop playing the piano because of pain. And what I want is a key. What I have at my home is this 5.5-inch octave that allows me to have a nice curved hand so that when I play, I can play loud and I can have shock absorbers and I don't get the pain. And it has changed my life. In 1996, I had my grand piano retrofitted with this 5.5-inch octave narrow key. I have played with the symphony. I have played with major string quartets. I have performed Chopin etudes I could never play before. And jazz, the jazz chords you can play are so rich, and it gives me the same hand as most male hands. About 20% of men would love this as well, but 80% of women, 100% of kids. When you have a child start piano, or if you have a child start running, you wouldn't put a size 15 man's shoe on their foot and say, let's go for a run. They wouldn't have a good time. This is what we're asking now. They have no choice. They have to play the big piano. So we want children to have smaller keys, narrower keys, so that they can have a relaxed hand. And if they're 9 years old and they can play Mozart piano concertos, they can play them with ease and not do any damage. So I think this is the most amazing thing, and I am so thrilled that a serious piano manufacturer is finally taking this seriously and making this available to the public. Thank you very much.